is a video I was hoping to not have to make. I was hoping and hoping that this was not going to happen, but alas, it is on this Friday. You are going to hear a lot said about Aurora, Colorado this week. Most of it is going to be unkind and wholly untrue. How do I know that? Because I live here. My husband and I relocated to Denver, Colorado. Aurora is less than 15 minutes from our house. So let's ask ourselves some questions. Let's use our critical thinking right now. Why is Trump coming to Colorado, a state that he will not and cannot win, less than 30 days before the election? And he's coming to talk about Aurora, Colorado, a community he hasn't even visited, hasn't seen anything firsthand. And he's not even holding his rally in Aurora. He's holding it at a luxury resort in Denver. Why are all the people on the ground in Aurora, public officials, police, people who live in Aurora, why are they all refuting his lies? If this suburb was overrun with Venezuelan migrants, wouldn't every news outlet in the country be covering it? Wouldn't the local media be covering it? Let me tell you what the Denver Post is saying, right? The Denver Post, who covers Denver, who covers Aurora. They're saying Trump again invoked Aurora, falsely claiming violent immigrants were taking over the city during a nationally televised debate with Kamala Harris. Aurora City and police officials have acknowledged isolated gang activities, but say claims that the city is overrun are absolutely not true. Aurora police have publicly identified 10 gang members, 10 people charged in more than a dozen criminal incidents in recent months. 10 people. Let me tell you what's actually going on here in Colorado and in Denver. Last winter, our area and the surrounding areas were inundated with about 40,000 migrants. Most of them were illegally bused here by the state of Texas. So Governor Greg Abbott in Texas took it upon himself to put these folks on buses and send them to Denver because we were a sanctuary city. And rather than turning them away, Colorado and the Denver area rose to the occasion. These folks were embraced with compassion and kindness. This city was not set up to absorb 40,000 people within a very short period of time. And things did not go perfectly, but I believe that the city and everyone involved had best intentions at heart. Several hotels were converted to temporary living space. Meals were provided. Clothing and food drives were undertaken. Churches pitched in and helped. One of the main hotels that was housing migrants was less than a mile from our house. So we had a real front row seat to this all last winter. The biggest issue was that these folks wanted to work, and they were walking around banging on doors, standing on the side of the road with signs, and they couldn't work at a lot of jobs because they couldn't get work permits fast enough. So that was a primary issue, was just that people wanted to work. If you went to Home Depot on a Saturday, there were probably 40 guys out there trying to pick up day labor work. And there were some issues. They were minor issues, nothing like the lies that Trump is spewing, just nothing like that. I live in the city of Denver, directly across the street from a former Catholic convent that's been turned into temporary housing for migrant families. And when I first heard this was going to happen, I was like, oh, I hope this goes well. And it's gone beautifully. I cannot tell you how I feel every day when I drive home and I see all these children riding their bikes and pushing their scooters out in the front yard of this facility that formerly used to house about 4 old nuns, and now it can house about 100 families. The families can't even get in there unless they can prove that they're working, and I think they're only allowed to stay for a short period of time. It's either 30 or 90 days. Anyway, we have had zero problems, and we live directly across the street from this facility. So I would just encourage all of us to consider the source when we see the news stories this week. This is a desperate man who is likely going to go to prison or be on house arrest if he doesn't win this election. And he's not polling well. So he's going to do everything he can to stoke fear and division in the American public right now in the 30 days prior to the election. Don't fall for his bullshit.